Well, guys, this is the video that I was going to have to make, basically, because Grant Morrison has blown my mind a little bit. About 2-3 days ago, and I'll put a link to it, Grant Morrison uh, was doing I guess, a podcast with Kevin Smith, who, in this particular YouTube video that I'm linking up, makes a big revelation about the ending of Alan Moore's 1988 classic, with The Killing Joke, with art and colors and almost everything by Brian Bolland. Like I said, this came out in 1988, and this was a time to take you back where I didn't get the book till a year later, but I'd already heard about it. Of course, this was the tail end of the 80s, and we have just spent the last, I don't know, 5-6 years of watching just comics kind of change because of Frank Miller, Alan Moore, things like that. Dark Knight Returns was fresh in everybody's mind. The Watchmen was still bringing in people. And actually, Alan Moore's Watchmen was another book that I didn't read until like about 89, because when I bought that trade paperback, you would have thought it was like some kind of drug deal going on. I'm 16 years old, walking into town, went to a Deskin's grocery store parking lot under a street lamp, guy sitting in his truck, and I'm doing a little trade here for the trade of the Watchmen, man. It was very shady. So finally I get to the comic book shop for the first time, and I've been hearing about this Killing Joke. You know, I finally got my hands on the Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, and it's his Superman annual number, I think 11, for the man who knows everything, and just Alan Moore just didn't do it wrong. All this stuff was going on. Frank Miller was just hot, man. I'd read and just tore up through The Dark Knight Returns and stuff by borrowing it off of friends and stuff like that. It was also the same year that I was able to get my grandmother bought my leather bound edition of the complete Frank Miller. It was previous videos about those stories. But anyway, so I get a hold of this, and I start reading it, and this is famous because like it's the possible origin of the Joker, and then it's also like Batgirl got crippled, and did he rape her, and there's other things they're looking at. He gets in here and he just gets a hold of James Gordon and tries to torture him with pictures of Barbara Gordon and everything. And you get it, and I finally got it, and I read it, and of course, it's got the Alan Moore formula, man. We get raindrops. He gives it sort of a cinematic feel, and he starts bringing it out, and it opens up with these raindrops, and he pulls back, and you see the bat. We get the sequential 9 panels like he did in The Watchmen and stuff, and he's panning and he's zooming and he's panning out, So he gets in here, and basically what's going on is Batman, who apparently, as you can tell, is called a favor in or something, is James Gordon, the police right there. He's requested a meeting with the Joker. And of course the Joker is sitting there playing solitaire under a lamp. And Batman more or less sits there and gives him this talk where it's almost like he's trying to do kind of a peace offering, like we got to end this. This is going to end with one of us killing the other. I mean, right off the bat, that's what, pretty intense stuff. Batman has thought about this. And of course, we come to through his vast detective skills, finds out that this is not the Joker. He's hired somebody to paint himself up like the Joker, and the Joker has escaped Arkham, and nobody knew. And the Joker just goes on, and this is where we get more of the Alan Moore formula. He starts having memories which may or may not be true. He sees a picture of a fat lady from an old, circus, and he starts remembering the best we know, his pregnant wife. And that's the journey, man. He goes through there, and we're having flashbacks, and Alan Moore's doing the thing where we get pictures, and we get his dialogue and his yellow boxes and stuff, kind of symbolically, simile, metaphorically, however anything kind of pertain to those, that Alan Moore formula. But it's the ending. We've had the beginning with this speech and trying to say this is going to end up killing one of us. And what you got to remember, the reason I brought up, this was the tail end of the 80s and stuff, it was still fresh in people's minds, including mine, about their showdown in The Dark Knight Returns, where this was the final showdown, and Batman broke the Joker's neck, and the Joker, in order to, get the last word in and the last laugh on Batman and turn him into the criminal, he starts continuing to break his own neck. Batman just paralyzed, and the Joker went ahead and broke his own neck while he was laughing. Just brutal. So I thought that's what they were talking about. And this is where Grant Morrison stepped in with Kevin Smith and made the big revelation. Did much like he did with Rorschach standing over the grave of the comedian, making a joke that pertains to the situation. So does the Joker. talking about Batman wanting to bring him over, redemption, and I think it was like something like, I got it right in front of me, but what I remember is like they were saying there was two lunatics trying to escape the crazy bin, and over the river they could see, civilization, and one guy had a flashlight and said, I'll turn on the flashlight and you can walk over the beam, and then I'll throw it to you and stuff. And he didn't do it because he didn't trust him. He said, you'll turn off the beam of light as I'm walking across it when I'm halfway through. And they started laughing. Batman starts laughing with him. And on the last page, we start panning down, much like we panned out. We go back to the raindrops. And as you can see, it's Batman and the Joker sitting there laughing. You hear you hear the police coming with their sirens. You hear them laughing, and then all of a sudden, the last three panels, there's no more laughing. And it's just the sirens, and then there's just silent, and then the lights go off. And then, much like the beginning, we're there. Now, what Grant Morrison is saying here is that Batman reached out, had his hand on the Joker, they were laughing, the police were rushing up, the laughing stops, the siren's still going on, then the lights go out. He's saying Batman broke Joker's neck there. He reached out and killed the Joker. And that blew me away. Alright? Blew me away because I was sitting here, and this is why I've been thinking about it and stuff. Alan Moore came out a few years later saying that he was just really he just hated the Killing Joke. And I always kind of wondered why. And that made me go back and kind of read it. And it's kind of like, it's ironic that Grant Morrison and Kevin Smith were talking, because I'm a Kevin Smith fan and loved Mallrats and still love it, but if you listen to the commentary, Kevin Smith tears his own movie apart and you start seeing the flaws with him, which just cracked me up. That's one of those synchronicity things that just makes me love this kind of hobby and stuff like that, because not only did Kevin Smith do that to Mallrats, which I like, Alan Moore, more or less, where he said that he hated the Killing Joke and stuff, I started reading it, and it was kind of like it's for Alan Moore, even though it's a great story, I started thinking, oh wow, he kind of got lazy. He used tricks he used in Watchmen. I saw a few tricks that he had used with the Swamp Thing, with the flashbacks and stuff, and the dialogue, it's almost like he's reached a point where he's got such a formula for writing comics, it was easy, and he called it in. Great concept, great stuff with great content, actually, with the story, with the Joker trying to remember, is he remembered it? Is he not remembered it? His origin, who is he? Batman still doesn't know who he is. It's just kind of like acknowledging where we're at, and it's kind of going back to where we've been. And then it actually changed the Batman universe because they pulled it in. Batgirl became crippled. One more thing with Batman to hate the Joker because, he killed Robin, and now he's crippled Batgirl. Just keeps just raping and pillaging Batman's mind and stuff, but then he pulled out the joke, and that just kind of reminded me of what he did with Rorschach and Watchmen stuff. So I started seeing, for an Alan Moore story, I started seeing what he was getting. But before I even heard about all that, the ending always felt kind of offbeat for an Alan Moore story to me. I could never put my finger on it. Now, I'm not even sitting here going to claim I suspected that he killed the Joker. No. I was expecting him to kill the Joker. And where Dark Knight Returns was fresh in my mind, the little peace offering, the little confrontation that he had to begin with the Joker, I thought it was referring to Dark Knight Returns. So that just blew my mind, and I just wanted to get it out there and share my few thoughts on it. But after reading it, is definitely open to interpretation. Like Grant Morrison said, Alan Moore may have secretly wrote the last Batman story, and it was so that would make it out of continuity. But again, I just mentioned all the things they brought into the Batman books from that. So it's just something that's really cool that Batman fans, comic book fans, just whoever can actually sit down after they read The Killing Joke and discuss. Did it? Is that what happened? Just great ending. Just turned it all the way around, completed it. Because the ending to me was almost a little upbeat for, an Alan Moore story. I'm like, wait a minute, nothing really happens here at the end. The Killing Joke. Even the title tells you that it's a killing joke. Wouldn't the punchline just be awesome for a joke like that Batman kills the Joker, which is ironic since the Joker is the killer. So yeah, anyway, I just had to get that off my chest, man, because that just blew me away. All of a sudden, this 24-year-old comic book just has a whole new life to it now. So check it out. Think about it. I'll put a link in the description for the little 3.5 minute excerpt of the Grant Morrison Kevin Smith interview.